Don't you see how much you have to offer? Yet you still settle for less. This comes to us from Marcus Aurelius. And as the nature of meditations is a journal, this is said by Marcus Aurelius to Marcus Aurelius. And I think each and every one of us can see this in ourselves. We have so much more to offer than we offer. We just settle for less. And he also says in this passage of meditations, along the lines as, talking about we focus, I'm paraphrasing, but, we focus on the things that we can't do. But don't you see how much you can do? Don't you see how many of the virtues you can practice? He says, yes, he calls himself slow, basically. But he says that doesn't mean you can't practice patience. That doesn't mean you can't act with courage. He puts emphasis on doing what you can when you can do it. And I think we need to focus on this more. I think we need to focus on how we might not be able to do the thing that we most want to do, or that we think would be most beneficial to our growth, our development, doing the thing to push the needle forward in progression in an area you're really trying to pursue. Because oftentimes you can't do the thing, 16 hours a day. You can only do it, a certain limited number of the day, whether it's a physical pursuit. I mean, after a certain, especially, with fatigue and everything, if it's a high fatigue sport, let's say, or endeavor, you can only do so long. And you can only do it so many days, and then you need rest days. And same thing with intellectual pursuits. There's the work Deep Work by Cal Newport, which I have right there. And he talks about the 3 to 4 hours of deep work. And he talks about how so many of the greatest thinkers of all time only ever gave 3 to 4 hours to their pursuits. And he also gives examples too how these people, when they are not doing the thing, they are often resting very well. And I think that's something we've lost in this day and age. Because in my opinion, um, yes, if you're resting well for the body, can look like anything. You can look in bed and binge watch Netflix, but I don't think this is beneficial rest. It does not help your mind recoup, especially if you're doing an intellectual pursuit. I think your rest needs to look a lot different than if you're solely just trying to recover muscle. And Leonardo da Vinci, I mean, I think he was given mankind's like best human, and like something that like um a group put together, like a survey, like who's the greatest human ever. And Leonardo da Vinci, I think, got number one in that survey. And it's talked about how so often he would work day and night on a painting or on a pursuit or something, and then he wouldn't show up to work for like a week. And there's the story, I think it's when he's painting the Mona Lisa, and I guess you can take this with a grain of salt because Leonardo da Vinci is famous for not finishing works, but I mean, I guess that comes with the territory of greatness and creativity in that magnitude. Um, but there's the story, like he's painting the Mona Lisa, and then he doesn't show up for a week, and the guy's like, "Hey, like the owner of the church is like, hey, I hired you to do this thing. What are you doing?" And then I can't remember exactly. I'm gonna have to paraphrase, but Leonardo da Vinci says something along the lines as basically, the best creative workers also rest very hard, and then also a mixture of like the best, like if you want him to do his thing, if you want him to paint the best Last Supper for you, he's not being lazy. He didn't wake up and decide to go for a week-long bender and he's just, an alcoholic. He understands his creative powers, and he understands that right now, to make the best painting that he can, it means not showing up and doing the thing. It means taking rest. It means going for walks. It means thinking. It means playing out different color patterns and different contrast and different backgrounds in his mind's eye. And I was kind of trying to tie that in with just the fact that sometimes we say we can't do something. We say, "Oh, I cannot work anymore. My brain is fried. I can't write anymore. I can't do this thing. I can't work out anymore. Like, I can't do this physical labor at my job. I'm just so tired. I'm just so beat. I'm cramping. My brain is I'm just making stupid mistakes." But I think we need to get to a position, we need to get to a place mentally where we immediately, or we spend as least amount of time in that mindset as possible. And then we immediately go to can. Okay, I can't do this. All right, what can I do? We need to make that transition as fast as possible. Because, sometimes it is right, like to do what Leonardo da Vinci did and take a break from doing the thing that is you're supposed, like your North Star that's pushing the needle. But what you do is very important because you don't want to, Leonardo, like I said, he didn't spend a week long bender. It was a week of solitude, long walks. Leonardo da Vinci was known for these things. And I'm sure he would believe they were crucial parts in his creative process. You know, Leonardo da Vinci painted the Mona Lisa and, did the Last Supper, painted the Last Supper. But I think he would argue that not all of his work was done with a paintbrush in hand in front of the portrait or the canvas. Yeah, the canvas. He would argue it was, that realization he had on that 3 hour walk through Florence because he lived in Florence, or he was born in Florence. He lived many places, but it was that 3 hour walk he took in between painting where he realized if he blended this color with that, it would give the impression of this. And if he made the facial feature in this way, because he walked by somebody doing it, it would give the illusion that the Mona Lisa tracked you across the room, which she does, and which is what makes the Mona Lisa very famous, because there's the background is landscapes in the background was something Leonardo da Vinci was known for, and that's what he did in that painting. And then the just the deep detail. You don't get that by standing in front of a canvas and closing your eyes and trying to think about the person you saw a month ago because you haven't left your workshop. You get that from being out and about, through time alone, through seeing people, through seeing things, through having experiences. And my point is just that we gotta transfer from can't to can ASAP. And if you can't do the thing, what can you do that is as close to the thing, or to peace, to eudaimonium, to happiness, to stillness, to helping others, to unselfish actions, to good character? What is the thing that you can do? There's no reason to get caught up on can't, because when you get caught up on can't, you get into the mindset and you get into the illusion that you can't do anything. And then I personally have been struggling with this a lot recently because I'll get in that mindset and it doesn't like I go from dwelling on can't and then for a long time and then go to the next reasonable thing I can do. It's just like, oh, I wasted an hour, wallowing in my own self-pity. It's like you go from can't, wallowing in your own self-pity, to like the most degenerate, pleasure-seeking, dopamine thing you can find to try to get you to a better mental state, because you just wallowed in your own self-pity for an hour and doing anything feels like a chore. And that's why I think it's valuable to just get away from that as soon as possible. And some days it's going to be a long walk. Some days it's going to be reading a book. Some days, it's going to be doing the thing. You're just feeling good. You're feeling after it. But, I guess doing the thing for me is making these videos, and I do write essays. So writing essays um, at this moment in time, and so often, and that's the crazy thing with creative pursuits is the ideas. When I get an idea for the video, I'm not typically sitting in this chair, with doing the thinking pose or trying to do anything of that nature. It's when I'm on a walk. It's when I'm at the gym. It's when I'm in an experience with other people and I notice something, and I either right then and there think deeply upon it, or I don't really save it intentionally, but there's, Seneca talks about, some places, in some places you can go deep, you can write deep, you can read deep, and then in other places it's just not the best idea. Not that it's dangerous or anything, but it's just, it'd be better in a better environment. But those are the times I so often get the inspiration to do the thing. And just because if I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh, I really need to make a video. Like it's been too long, and I just start getting worked up. And I'm like, I can't make one though. I don't have a good idea, and I don't really like forcing videos either because I think to a certain degree, sometimes I can work through a problem with a video, and if I think I can do that, I will go into the video. But so often, I won't just turn on the camera and talk about something stupid. It's something I've already thought about a lot, and it's something that I've already put in a good amount of time into writing about and thinking about. And a lot of the video is off the top of the head and just flow, but a lot of it too is the concepts I talk about aren't like I just thought of that day. It's things I've thought of for a long time. So just because I can't do a video doesn't mean I can't put myself in a position to be able to make a video later. Doesn't mean I can't read. And maybe my brain's fried and I can't read anymore. It doesn't mean I can't go for a walk. And maybe, you know, I'm really sore and I'm really tired and a walk's just not feeling like it. It doesn't mean I can't lay in bed and just, say try to meditate or put on a good podcast or watch an informational YouTube video or something of that nature. And if all that stuff seems just, oh my, I've been doing that for day in, day out, 10 hours a day, say, okay, let's see if one of my buddies wants to go fishing. Let's see if, you know, somebody wants to go play golf. These are not the things that push the needle, but they can sometimes be the thing that help the needle be pushed. And I was more all over the place in this video than I wanted to be, but I think there's a valuable points in this video. But the main point I want to make is just we need to move away from can't ASAP and can. What can I do that is not actively detrimental to the thing? Because wallowing in self-pity on can't is detrimental. And it's way better to go for a long walk than to sit around thinking I can't do anything. I'm useless. I can't work. I'm supposed to be working. I'm supposed to be trying to improve my life. I'm supposed to be pushing the needle forward on this project that I really want to get done. And sometimes it's not beneficial. Sometimes it's just way more beneficial to just go do something else. Go do what you can do. And as Marcus Aurelius speaks in the context of the passage, he speaks about virtues practicing in person too, because there's more than just doing the thing, obviously. There's also life and being kind and being virtuous and being unselfish and having good character. And, sometimes, I think sometimes it's so clear we get caught up in, as I've said a million times, what we can't do. But You can't do this, but you can practice virtue. I mean, you can practice patience, let's say. So focus on that. What is the situation demanding of you? Okay, maybe I'm not the guy who's the front runner and is saving the day and is the hero in this situation. But maybe I'm a crucial supporting role player who can do that job well, better than anyone else here, and I can't do the job that is most important the best. So I'm not going to try to fight for that, for some pride or honor or anything. I'm just going to do my role, do my job, do the thing I can do well, because so I don't take away from anybody else my gifts, and also don't take anyone's gifts away from them by trying to take what they can give, do what they can do. I think you get the point. Can't should not be in your vocabulary. And that's not can't because the wise person can do anything and anything's possible. That's not why can't shouldn't be in your vocabulary. Can't shouldn't be in your vocabulary because we should be at a point where can't doesn't even register, where we think can't and then we instantly go can. I can't do, don't even finish the sentence, I can do that. And you just boom boom. Don't dwell on it. Do what you can do.